Okay, hello everyone. This is your main man Blackfoot, and I hope everyone out there is feeling fine today. You guys and girls, do me a favor and hit that like button. It'll be greatly appreciated. So let's begin with this video essay. Now, as you can see right here on your screen, I am talking about the movie Chicago just a bit, right? And if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend that you do watch it because it got everything to do with the politics, what's going on today, as well as relationship and religion and the whole 9 yards, right? But just to give you a quick synopsis about it, right? It's talking about women who have deleted their husbands, right? So they are in Cook County Jail waiting to see the judge and da 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 da. Because during this time in the 1920s, I believe that if you delete your husband or whoever within a capital murder, they hang you back in the day, right? So in this movie, they needed the best attorney in town, right? The best that money can buy. And it was played by the actor Richard Gere here, right? Also known, AKA, as Billy Flynn. Now, if you ever, I don't know if you ever heard the expression, Ian like Flynn, we used to say that a lot in Chicago, like, oh, I'm Ian like Flynn. That means that it's a guaranteed win, right? So these women needed Billy Flynn, but he charged $5,000 for the case, and whatnot, right? So they was all trying to get him, and in this movie, it's a particular scene called Razzle Dazzle, right? Now, in this scene in Razzle Dazzle, Richard Gere got everything going. He got the three-wing circus going on. He got the jugglers. He got the scale of justice going up and down, right? He putting on all type of theatricals. He's got the religion. He throwing the Bible at the prosecutors. He got all type of things going. He got the dancing girls shaking their butt, throwing up three fingers. Doing everything to discombobulate the jurors. Even the judge is mesmerized about what's going on, right? But ultimately, it comes to a not guilty because they're being entertained, right? Nobody really wants to hear the case. They want to be entertained. They want their ears to be twinkled and tickled. They want their eyes to be full of glitter and whatnot. They want to be captivated. It's all about me. It's not even about the ones who's on trial. It's about me when I come to this courtroom or when I go to the grocery store, whatever the case may be, right? So this is what Billy Flynn does, right? He makes it all about you. And so when you feeling good about yourself, by you being entertained and whatnot, you feeling good about yourself, you feeling good about your life and whatnot. And so now you take on this good spirit, right? And you don't want to pass it on to the person who's quote unquote guilty or not, I've been entertained so much that I'm in this utopia of joy. So, no, she's not guilty, right? That's exactly what happened. She's not guilty, even though she probably did shoot him 4, 5 times. But I'm feeling so good. And the judge feeling so great because he's mesmerized with these girls and glitter all in his eyes and the sequels and the birds are chirping and it's sunny outside. It's 75 degrees outside and you just found a bag of money and whatnot. The coffee tastes good. You're getting a good back rub. Everything is good. Of course she's not guilty or, because it's a women prison. Nobody's guilty, right? And so this is what's going on today. Even back then, it is politics. So this is what I want you guys and girls to understand what is going on today, right? So as you can see right here, in this scheme, on this skit right here, Razzle Dazzle, he has mesmerized the political world within the media here. So he got the media to repeat the words, self-defense, not guilty, you know, uh, self-defense, not guilty, over and over again. The politics is blasting through your screen. During this time, it was the radio and the newspaper. All of them, all on tune. It's all like a matrix thing, right? And I want you to see right here, Billy Flynn. I want you to look at him as America, right? He's this top-notch attorney, and he gets to turn whether you are innocent or guilty, right? Because if you paid enough, right? It's all about the money, right? You pay him, he gonna have the whole media behind him, what is going on. Here, I forgot her name, Renee Zellweger. I hope I'm not butchering up her name. But anyway, she's on trial, but you see her sitting on his lap saying, everything is fine. I got you. Because I got the media behind me who's going to echo what I say. It's going to parrot what I say. And as you can see right here, you can see the strings right here. It's all a puppet show, right? Richard Gere, the America, I got paid. Even though you're guilty, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull the strings out to the media, going to blast it through the radio and whatnot. Because obviously, you know, when you get the money and the power in the media behind you, the sky is the limit. You know, the sky is the limit. Now, I want you to understand what is happening within this movie aspects of it, but I want you to break it off into a reality aspects of it, because some things that's done in a movie is also a reflection of the reality what's going on today, right? This is where I want you to get to understand and grasp, because, you know, it seems like the older that I get, the simpler it becomes, but yet and still it becomes much harder. It seems like the most simplest thing to do becomes the most hardest thing for our people to do, because it's like, why is that? You know why it's so hard? You know why it's so hard for the simplest thing for us to get ourselves together? Because you are entertained. You are entertained so much. You be like, I don't want us to deal with these so-called problems. I'm feeling good. What's going on? You know, I'm getting my little twos and fruits. I'm getting a little of a bit of a crumb off the bread of America, whatever the case may be. I'm entertained. I'm happy, right? So I want to bring you back into the biblical part, and I'm going to bring it up for to see how this puppet show, what is going on. Renee right here is being puppet by Richard Gere to say, hey, look, I want you to say what I say, and everything's going to be just fine. Now, here's an example of that here. I'm going to take you back in the time with Ezra, right? During the time of the movie 300, you know, they're not showing you, but during this time when the Persians took over, right? Because you had the Assyrians, then you had the Babylonians, then the Babylonians beat the Assyrians, and here come the Persians, which the prophet Daniel spoke about, the Persians and the Mede. Now, during this time, you know, the 10 of the tribe was in Syria, but they had bailed out. You know, they took a boat ride to America. You need to watch one of my videos and you will see that. So the 10 tribes, they gone, right? Now here come the Persians, and the Babylonians took the Judah tribe of Judah, which was Ezra and them, the Benjamin and half of the Levites, right? So they over there right now in the cut while Xerxes is beating the Greeks at this time, right? And beating the rest of the Babylonians, right? So the Most High put it in his heart and said, you know what? Gave Ezra and them the green thumb. Say, you know what? Pack up. Time to go. Matter of fact, I think he told all the people who the Babylonians brung over, say, hey, look, go back home where you at. You know, the Persians, this is our thing right here, you know. So he gave them all the green light, saying, hey, you know what? Go home, go build your place up. And he told Ezra and grab all the people who are of his kin to go home, right? Here's a bag of money. He gave us some creed, gave us some papers saying, hey, look, I, Xerxes, said you can go. Now, I want you to imagine now, during this time of years, centuries, you know, you had other people cosplaying the so-called, over the real tribe of Judah, right? Now, when the Assyrians was over there, right, who brought the first 10 tribes over, they replaced them with a whole new different group, right? And the Most High sent lions over there to kill them. So, in a long story short, the Assyrians brought other people from Assyria over there to Israel to cosplay them, right? They brought in one of the Levites, the preacher, and taught them how to walk like a duck, how to quack like a duck, how to squawk like a duck, which, in other words, they became a bootleg children of Israel, or the tribe of Judah, right? They over there right now as we are looking at this picture of Xerxes, right? They over there having kids and kids. Generations of generations are acting and pretending and cosplaying as the tribe of Judah right now in this picture as we speak, as Xerxes gave them the okay to go home, right? Now, during this time, Ezra and them, they packed up and they are going home. Now they having conflicts with the so-called bootleg versions of them, right? Because remember, Assyria sent them over there with a preacher teaching the whole lake. Now you got kids and children and everything. Now you can't tell them nothing. You know what I mean? It's almost like the Pepsi and Coca-Cola challenge. You know, when you close your eyes, you be like, oh, this one's Pepsi and this one is Coca-Cola. So you can't tell, right? But when Ezra and them got over there, they like, hey, look, we Pepsi. And they over there saying, no, we Coke, right? And you got these children don't know nothing else but being a so-called a bootleg tribe of Judah, right? You can't tell them nothing because they've been doing it for so long. They talk like a duck, they quack like a duck. You can't tell them nothing different, right? And so I say all that to bring you up to date on what's going on right here, because I had a conversation with this dude right here, right? During this time on my Facebook page, right? I think he's from one of these Hebrew groups. And he said something that was absolutely outstandingly stupid, right? Now you see this picture right here. He gonna say, just because right here, now you see this so-called earring in his ear, right? I think he's a Mexican. And you know, the Mexicans believe that they are from the tribe of Issachar. I don't know where they got that from one of these groups. Who knows, right? So, you know, the Mexicans are a hybrid group, you know, a sexually transmitted group from the Spaniards to the red natives, right? They're a hybrid. They're not a really got a pedigree. They more of a, I hate to say the word, but a mutt. So anyway, he gonna say right here on this picture here that you see right here, this Star of David in this statue's ear, down there in Mayan, Mexico, right? He's saying, look, this right here proves that the Mexicans are from the tribe of Judah, Issachar. He was throwing both of these tribes at me. So I was pretty much trying to figure out which one he's referring to. And I would say, wow. And he was like, oh, could you refute this evidence right here? This is hardcore evidence right here. You see a picture right here with this statue having a Star of David in its ear, right? Saying, hey, look, this right here, this is 100% proof. Proves that this I am from the tribe of Judah. And I was like, wow, how fascinating that is. Because I said, well, sir, if that's the case, if I wear a blonde wig and somebody took a picture of me in a carving or whatever the case may be, would that makes me a European because I'm wearing a blonde wig and somebody take a picture of me and whatnot? You know, that doesn't make any sense, sir. That a picture has nothing to do with your culture, your ideology, your well-being of people, the gathering. A picture doesn't say nothing of that. All it does give you your imagination or opinion about something, right? It's null and void right then and there. You know, you projecting your ideology on something that has no merits on what you're saying. See, that is what you call a zealot, right? That is a zealot that he is projecting on something that he want to be so bad. You know, he want to be that so bad that any falsities that may occur, that proves it. You know, it's just illogical thinking, right? It's not logical. It's illogical that anything can happen. Like one comedian said one time that he said that he was walking down the street, right? And he had, you know, a stick of bubble gum, right? And he put the bubble gum in his mouth and he balled up the wrapper and threw the wrapper over the gate. Then next thing you know, the person over at the gate, he said it was a lady, got killed, right? So the evidence, people looking for evidence. So now they find this piece of gum wrapper that he threw across the gate. Forensic pulled up, lift up his fingerprint and said, aha, you is the killer. You the serial killer. So now he in Debo's chicken coop, cooling his heels off because he got lazy and threw the bubble gum wrapper over the gate. And now he's got to fend for his life in jail because he was lazy. And he had nothing to do with it. He just threw a gum wrapper. And they lift up his fingerprint. See, this is the same thing what this dude is saying right here, right? And I said, sir, how do you not know if this statue right here bought this earring off a trade, right? How you not know that? You don't know. And the children of Israel, they didn't wear earrings with big old 6 point stars in their ear. They didn't have anything like that in their culture. But you can't tell a zealot that. You can't tell somebody that is so gun ho into something that they want to be, that any type of rationale you try to explain to them, they get mad at you. And then here's another thing that he had told me, right? And I want you guys, if you haven't heard this before, he called me a fake Israelite. See, this is the propaganda that the American people put on a lot of these people, these tethers. It's the same thing what the Assyrians did. It's the same thing what the Babylonians did, right? See, it's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. What is happening is that they have been emboldened by the chief personnel of a nation. The Assyrians put that battery in their back, saying you are the real Israel, right? The foreigners that the Assyrians brung over, then the Babylonians brung over and put a battery in their back and say we the real children of Israel. Put that Babylonian battery in their back. Put that Assyrian battery in their back. And so now when a real thing come over, the real Pepsi, the real Ezra, the real Jews come over, right? They like, no, you not. You a fake Israelite. See, this is what he did to me. This is what he called me, a fake Israelite, right? Because America put the battery in his back. See, he got an American battery in his back, right? It's telling him, right, that you are the real tribe of Judah. This is what he's saying without saying it. They got that battery in their back and believing it because they got pretty much enforcement to reinforce their lie. You see, America loves this puppet show. Like I just showed you before earlier. They love a good puppet show. They love a good joke, a good long joke. And this is what a good long joke that here it is that he's really believe it. And if America tell him, he gonna really believe it. Here's another example of a joke right here, right? These people right here, right? I just got involved with this right here, but not too much. That here it is with our reparations, right? The so-called African Union trying to pull the old dummy bag, and they trying to use the so-called sixth region with the so-called Africa and the diaspora over here in America, saying that, hey, look, we need to grab our people who are from Africa, and we are petitioning America for our reparations, right? So here's the dummy bag. The same thing what I just showed you about this so-called Mexican wannabe. Now they're using these so-called Africans as the so-called children of Israel, aka FBA, aka Black America. America is using these people now as saying like these are the children of slaves who have suffered, or we are the Africans who have suffered because America have took our children over here in America. So therefore we're not going to pay the so-called children. We're going to pay the so-called the African parents of the children this so-called reparations, right? So you can see the dummy bag, the bullshit just going on right now. America is talking about paying the so-called parents of the slaves. So you can see the dummy bag that's going on, right? You can see the bullshit, what is happening right now, right? They're using them for crash dummy. Guess what? They're not going to say anything. They just going to be like, they're going to hold their hands over their mouth like, well, I ain't saying nothing. They ain't going to say nothing as long as I get paid, And they got their media apparatus that's going to broadcast this throughout the TV, throughout the radio, throughout the newspaper and whatnot, saying, yeah, we're going to pay reparations to the parents. These ain't our motherfucking parents. We don't know them. It's a whole new different crop of Africans over there. The children should get paid. By the parents of the children. Them ain't our parents. But this is what America would use the old flam, the old razzle dazzle, just like in Africa. Just like in the movie Chicago. This is the old playbook. This is the bullshit what is happening, right? This is the old trick bag. The banana in the tailpipe, because they don't want to pay the children. They want to pay these so-called Africans, and they got some type of back deal what's going on. Telling what is going on. They got some type of operative going on. Like, look, we're going to give you this money, but on the back end, you're going to give it back, and we're going to come over there to build something, and so on and so forth. So we're just going to say this is reparations. So therefore, in everybody's mind, that reparation has been paid. You're going to have the so-called Europeans going to be like, oh, well, okay, well, fine. You know, if they paying the Africans and they the one, the parent, you know, and they gonna believe this stuff, right? Because they gonna have the battery in their back because they got so much hatred. You know, because the scripture talks about how much hatred that these people have for us. You know, and if you really can't see it, it's because you don't want to see it. You know, because see, that's the new intelligence. Playing stupid is the new intelligence. That's what is happening right now. It's right there in front of your face. But you got a lot of people, these foreigners, and even so-called the Americans, they got so much hate for us. Like, I don't want to see them rise. You know, I understand why it is like that. I do understand it. But at the same time, it does make you frustrated. Just like how Ezra was, right? Just how Ezra was so mad that during that time, right? If you ever read this right here, when Xerxes gave the our people that little inkling of hope, right? That little inkling of hope that the so-called people over there, the fake people who've been over so long in Syria and in Israel and whatnot, they start mingling with the true blood. And Ezra got so mad, he said, hey, look, stop. Because they was over there mingling with the Canaanites. They was mingling with the Perizzites, the so-called Jebusites, the Amorites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, the Amorites. They was over there mingling their kids, they seeds with them and the women, their daughters, the whole 9 yards, right? And Ezra got so mad that he snatched his hair out his head and he snatched his hair off his beard. If you don't believe me, there's the verse right there, you know. And this is how sometimes I feel, right? This is how sometimes I feel when you see the hypocrisy right there in front of your face, right? And this was Ezra got, even you know that got to hurt, right? To snatch your hair out your head, you know, that pain, and then you're gonna have the blood and whatnot. Read it. Read it. If you don't believe me, go ahead. Read this verse. Go there. You know, you ain't got to believe me, but read it yourself. You know, and this is what a lot of them don't want to tell you. A lot of these so-called people don't want to tell you the inner workings, what makes us Israel. As you know, I'm an Old Testament Israelite, you know. But I don't get the love that I supposed to with my so-called subscribers or whatnot. You know, I don't know what it is that my lessons don't get the love or the attention. I don't know if the YouTube algorithms or whatnot or my subscribers, the people who listen to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you're afraid of me or something that I'm bringing too strongly. But, you know, I am trying to save us. You know, I just don't like to be on here and just to be running my mouth. I'm telling you something that is true, that is real, on how we can easily come together. It's really just that simple. But like I said before, the most simplest thing is the most hardest thing, you know, because you got all these people cosplaying us, you know, and just like with Ezra, when he snatched his hair out his head, you know, he's like, hey, look, what the hell is wrong with you? We just got a little help from the Most High through Xerxes. Through Xerxes here. We got a little help from Xerxes via the Most High. Put it on his heart for our ancestors to go back home, you know. And we was dealing with all these different, you know, cosplayers over there. Even what's going on today. You know, it's really just that simple, ladies and gentlemen. But I know the simplicity of it all, it is hard. You know, I get it. I understand it. That's why it's so hard to be an Israelite and whatnot. And as an Old Testament Israelite at that, I get it. You know, understand what you are going through. You know, but you got to be patient and whatnot, and to have a clear understand that it's not over till it's over. You know, and the interesting thing about all of this, particularly, I'm sorry, these people like him, right? People like him and all these other people who are cosplaying us, you know, they think Israel is a whorehouse. You know, they think the house of Israel is a whorehouse, that anybody could just come in and think they could join. See, that's what happened to the Maccabees, right? And that's what we got these so-called, these Amorites today over there in Israel, right? You know, when you lay down the drawbridge and whatnot, you let all these people come in. You know, this is not the Rainbow Push coalition of Jesse Jackson. You know, Israel's not a whorehouse. You know, you're not going to come in being all these different nationalities and races and becoming a puppet show. No, not on my watch. But see, this is what it is. You got these other groups talking about, they Israelites. No, no, you're not. No, you're not. And they performing all these so-called days and all these so-called feasts. And Hosea said the feast days are gone. And this is what I want to ask some of these groups, because nobody don't really want to comment on my platform, but it's fine. I do it for myself. So eventually, maybe it might come around, maybe not. But what behooves me so much is that how are you guys gonna have all these feast days and the Most High haven't even got his, right? Most High haven't even got his quote unquote 10% of the tithes and whatnot. The Most High requires certain things. Have you read the book of Leviticus? You know, the Most High requires certain things every year for Himself. These burnt offerings, but you can't have any type of burnt offering because the Most High haven't set up the Levites. So what is you doing all these holy days for? For who? For you? For you? Oh my freaking gosh! The hypocrisy of it all. The total disrespect of it all. And this guy right here, and just like the rest of them, worshiping the so-called white man on the stick. And I asked him before and I asked him again, but nobody always running for me because they all scared of me. I'm like the canary in the coal mine. I'm the needle in a haystack. You dig? I'm the banana in the tailpipe because nobody don't want to answer my question. Yes, it is so simple as ABC. Nobody answers my questions. Nobody just want to come to the realization of what I am telling them because they are scared of me, right? I know they are because nobody wants to answer one simple question because it blows them all out. I'm just like the guy who pulls the curtain behind the Wizard of Oz and I see all the bullshit. I see all the politics. I see the bullshit. I'm like Tony Montana when he says, even when I lie, I tell the truth. Because I see your bullshit. I see all the dummy bag, the fakeness, the phoniness. Want to be something that you want. You want to be something so bad, but you can't. This is the real Pepsi. This is not Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola had Coke in it. This is Pepsi. This is the real deal Holyfield. Don't be mad. Get glad. Tell your story walking. You did? It's a million of them out there telling their story. And they all lying to you guys and girls. You need to listen to me. Cause I done told you secrets that I said I was going to never blast out. Like I told you about Moses and whatnot. And with the Red Sea. I've told you about the ark. Right? Like I said, when he sent out the pigeons. When he sent out the dove. Right? He sent them out. And I just asked one simple question. All it begins with, ladies and gentlemen, is just one question. Right? Because when he sent out the dove and when he sent out the raven, the dove and the raven, all I had to do is just ask you one thing. Why didn't, I said Moses, but I meant Noah. Why didn't Noah just look out the window? See how simple that is? Why didn't he just look out the window? Because I wouldn't have looked out that window either. If you knew what I knew. If you knew what I knew, you wouldn't look out that window either. And see, this right here, this guy right here is a prime example of the falsehood in a lot of these groups here, man. And I feel for Ezra and I understood what he was going through. Because that's how I be wanting to pull out the fucking hair out my head too. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys learned something because this is how I'm going to start regurgitating these lessons here because obviously, I should have more subscribers than this. I should have more likes than this because I'm giving you key elements to what it is to be of the Old Testament Israel. These are the people that the Most High is searching for. I didn't come across this information on my own. The Most High gave me this little insight to regurgitate to you people to tickle your ears with a little bit of substance, to get the ball rolling, to make you feel alive. Because it is you, not no other group. It is you who I am coming for, And I really want you guys to understand what I am saying. It's stop being scared. If I offend you or if you are scared of me, you need to get over that. Because I am telling you something that, yeah, it is going to scare you. Why not? You need to be scared, right? Because the Most High is a scary entity, something that is beyond my control and yours. You should be a little bit nervous, right? Because you're going to believe some white man on the stick. And you got these people are still doing it. You know how that is crazy. Because there's another question. I got three questions. I'll propose them all, but nobody dares to question me. And the other question is, where is it in the law that the Most High required a human sacrifice? A baby of one of his own child. It has never been done. It has never been performed. The Most High never required such an abomination. He never required such a horrific act to be performed on his behalf. The blood of one of his own children. Could you imagine that on a sacrifice? The Most High is about love, not about killing his own children. What the hell is wrong with you guys? But yet and still, it doesn't matter what I say. Because guess why? Because you are all entertained. And with that, have a good day.